Good morning, everyone. We usually don't get to say morning.
That's right.
Usually we're on here in the afternoon. So, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Candice Suarez with OptiMed. I'm joined by Tom Leahy, other managing partner of OptiMed. And welcome to our morning chat today.
Yep. So this time of year, what's on every senior high school senior's mind is applications.
Yeah.
The
Well,
biggie.
it should be on your mind.
It should be, yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we got a few days till November 1st, which is a magic date for a lot of early action deadlines. So, and the Common App is the primary vehicle for applications these days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's some things we want to, just some thoughts that we wanted to pass on about last minute check up kind of stuff. Looking at your Common App before you push that submit button, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one thing we have noticed when we're working with people through the Common App is when you cut and paste your essay into the Common App, the spacing and formatting can be wonky.
Right.
So you really have to look carefully at the preview section to make sure your spacing is the way you want it to be and even. So that is just one tiny little tidbit that first came to my mind.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, realize in this day of texting and everything else that people don't lean heavily on, proper grammar with capitalization and commas and all that. But in this case, it's kind of important because you may have, you don't know who's going to be looking at this stuff. And
Well,
you may just
college admissions
people are going to be, but you might not, and that may not be an art teacher. It may be an English teacher, right? And so they're going to pick up on, so you need to make sure that things are capitalized correctly.
In your activities section, in your answers to questions, if it's not a drop down, make sure you're spelling things correctly and you're capitalizing correctly.
Details are important. And when as you're reviewing your activity section, make sure that you've presented yourself in the best light possible and use all the space given to you especially in the descriptive portion of the activity section, and really try to use all 10 opportunities to talk about things you've done outside of the classroom. But when we start entering information, one of the important things as far as your position goes, we want to, obviously, if you are in a leadership position, we want to identify that first and then the organization, because we want that captain or president or whatever be the first word in that description.
So for example, you would say captain, comma, volleyball team.
Right.
A varsity volleyball team. All capitals. The beginning,
And when you're describing what what the activity is, we want to describe what you are doing, not what the organization is about, but what you have done, and use active verbs, right?
Yeah, you want to talk about your contribution, what you brought to the organization or the team or whatever, or what you did. Okay, you don't want to say the Girl Scouts are an organization that, because everybody knows what the Girl Scouts are.
Right.
You want to say I participated in XYZ.
Yeah, right. And those active verbs, yes, led, participated, developed, planned, those things, those kind of words are powerful.
I wanted to point out the beauty of the Common App is that there's a lot of information you only have to fill out once, right? Your grades, your transcripts, your essay, your basic information. But every school has its own set of questions. and sometimes they're lengthy.
Yeah.
And if you haven't looked ahead of time, sometimes it's an extra whole essay
Right.
that they want you to write. So don't wait till you're ready to hit that submit button to make sure everything in each of the schools you're applying to is filled out. Because
Right.
sometimes you need your parents' driver's license number and,
Right.
and things like that to prove residency. It's not difficult, but sometimes you might forget to leave yourself that time to go through each of the schools.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just one other thought too. Back to the activity section. I know we spent a lot of time harping on the activity section, but your high school resume is hugely important in the process. And so you need to look at the things that you've done and prioritize those activities and organizations in terms of what is most important. Where did you lead? That
So
should
what seems the most prestigious?
right. Yeah,
And
exactly.
start with that one.
Or where did you contribute most of your time and all that? So spend some time lining those up. So you're the most important things, most important items that you've done are up front, because as as people scan through these things, their attention span is lessens, and so we want those most important items to be first.
Yeah, and don't worry if you've already put them all in; they're easily moved up and down with the arrows. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else about the Common App that seniors should be aware of, that they can do last minute checks before they hit that submit button?
I think also the letters of recommendation.
Yeah.
Those are in the school section because every school has their own requirements.
Right.
So it's not like the olden days where they hand you a letter and it's sealed and you send it. It is you just are entering their email address, and the Common App electronically requests the recommendation. So that's how that is done. SAT scores and ACT scores. I recommend having the College Board send them to the schools that you want to send them to, because if you put them in a Common App, it could go to all of them. And your strategy might not be the best to send them everywhere.
Right.
So if you do it through the Common App, through the College Board, and send them select it.
Yeah. And in today's environment, where a lot of schools are test optional, or they don't want them, or you may want to come up with a strategy in terms of what schools you're going to send them to based upon the school's policy. And so Candace is right. You need to do it through the College Board rather than through the Common App.
Yeah, because some schools, if it is something you would consider a fairly easy school for you to get in, maybe their SAT scores are on average a little bit lower. Then if you're going to shine, send them. And if you're looking at a more prestigious school that you might consider a reach, you might not choose to send them. So make those individual decisions.
And this is probably one of those kind of comments, but if we're dealing with a programs, fine arts program or whatever, where you're going to have to be submitting an audition tape or a portfolio, those kind of things. This takes time. This takes work. And if that school is requiring those things, you need to be working on that way ahead of time, almost like a personal statement. So
Tom, are you saying that high school juniors might want to get on this now?
That's a great idea, Candace.
Yeah, well, we're coming up to the holidays, right? And many of the seniors we're working with now, they're saying, wow, I wish I would have listened to you in the spring when you were saying to line all this stuff up.
Right.
Exactly. So, Yeah, but really by after the holidays, if you're a junior, you should really
You
be.
really need to get busy. Yeah, it comes fast and furious,
It really does. Yeah.
and you don't want to be caught behind the eight ball, as they say.
Yeah.
Comes fall of your senior year, and
Yeah.
you're a hot mess, chasing around trying to get the stuff done. So. Yeah. So, and if you want to talk about all that in more detail, have a conversation with us, how do people get in touch with us?
Easily I'm www.optimumedcenter.com, or if you're watching this on social media, you can easily message either one of us or Optimum Ed, and we will respond to that as well.
That's terrific. All right. Well, I wish best of luck to all of our high school seniors out there that are anticipating some great results from their applications, and let us know where you got in. That'd be exciting to hear from you folks about the wonderful things you've accomplished. So with that, we will let you get to your Friday and wish you a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.